are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 569, part of Dash Radio. I am Jay, and Mark, listen to this.
Rumblings, unconfirmed at this point, so I want to be very clear about that after last night's Knick win that everyone was at against the Chicago Bulls, we all saw Julius Randle storm off the court negatively after winning a game, that he has told the powers that be that he's done. He wants out. Now, that is an unconfirmed story. I don't want to say that it's legit or confirmed, but it's got some legs right now that the team saw him walk off the court as if they had lost, went to him after the game, and he has expressed to people in the know there, I'm done as a Knick.
Interesting.
That is interesting. That is very interesting.
Never a dull moment. You think they're just going to ride out the last 6 games of the season, and now this.
Yeah. So this was coming for a while. So first of all, that's from the Carton and Roberts show on WFAN. It's an awesome show.
They need
anyway. They don't obviously do not need a plug. We should not play anything without giving
I
credit.
just like how you ended it with like awesome show. You should all listen.
It is actually an awesome. They're all both great personalities. It's really enjoyable. It's better than our show. Anyway, a lot better than our show. Like not even close. Anyway. So yeah. So has this been coming for? First of all, Jay, obviously it's unconfirmed rumors. What percentage you give it that it's probably true?
75. It's everything I've seen from his body language to, not high-five, the only one on the whole team that doesn't high-five the fans on the way out of the locker room, to throwing hissy fits in multiple games in a row, starting fights, and then yesterday just flinging the ball and kind of storming off the court when they won. Like, it doesn't make any sense unless he's, like, just had it. I think it's going to come out that something happened in the locker room between games 6 and 7 of the season, and it's just escalated little by little since that. And
why those games? Because the Knicks were like 5-1 and then fell apart. Is that why you're saying that?
Yeah, because he seemed happy the first few games. He seemed like he was playing like he did the season before, not like he did in the playoffs. And it seemed like everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, it just seemed like his energy was different. He was slacking off on defense, like what we see most of the season. But like, I didn't see that the first part of the season.
You're talking about 6 games. I think it was a little more gradual than this. I don't think something like happened. I mean, obviously, I assume you're not saying it had to have happened between games 6 and 7, but like, I think it was a more gradual, like.
I'm saying a spark was lit, and
maybe
whatever happened, that was the foundation of it, and then maybe little things built upon that.
I mean, so it's been reported. Mark Byrne points out in a New York Post article that he did not come into camp. Like last year, there was a big thing about. If everyone remembers 2 years ago, New York, like now, the New York Knicks fan base was completely out on Julius Randle. And Tibbs kept saying, Randall is in amazing shape. He came into camp in amazing shape and obviously had an all-star, all-NBA season. This year, it was reported that he did not come into into camp in such amazing shape. He had an awesome first, 6 games, and then it kind of got worse. So many things happened in this season. There's more recently, fighting with Cam Johnson, fighting with Rudy Gobert, all these little fights. He's at 12 technical fouls. I think one more and he gets suspended for a game.
Oh, it's only 13? I thought it was like 17.
Oh, it could be. I don't know how many. We don't know any of the rules of basketball here.
We're very.
But there's a
smart
certain amount gets you suspended from a game. Anyway, 12 is a lot to have. He's just like it always feels like you're getting 75% out of Julius Randle on any given night. There's 25% of the plays you feel like he's just taking off. He's not trying as hard on defense. He's not trying. He's settling for shitty shots. What do you think? What went wrong this season?
I mean, my long-lasting theory is that he was permanently messed up from the Hawks series and just never got over it.
Do you think, and that's a possibility, defenses became, first the Hawks kind of figured him out, so to speak. So a lot of defenses, a lot more double teams this year. And obviously, like, maybe he had like a chip on his shoulder from that series that he couldn't get over. Do you think also like the money got to him? Like he finally got this big contract and like not even just the money, like the Knicks fans basically threw a long party for him. Basically, they were like, it was like all NBA, you're the greatest ever. Fans went nuts for him. Do you think all this ended up basically like in a weird way, and obviously the money in a weird way making like almost a negative because it basically kind of let him he kind of didn't work as hard because like he got what he wanted?
No, I don't think that's it because he doesn't seem to have slacking body language. He seems to have like pouting body language. So I'm thinking more he was the number one guy and the tides kind of changed. These guys look at social media. RJ's the number one guy in New York. And he might just be upset about that. And then yesterday there was Obi chants. And while he was on the court, maybe that was the last straw. Maybe he's like, well, now I'm third to like Obi.
This isn't the first time the fans have cheered for Obi. First of all, if you remember beginning of the season, Obi was getting some minutes and looking really good, but it was like limited minutes and it was fine. But when Randall, Randall's been playing bad for long stretches this season. There have been other parts of the season where the fans have chanted for Obi. I feel like the Obi chants probably get to him more than the RJ's chants.
Probably, but there's also a difference between chanting for Obi with 2 minutes left in a 20-point blowout as opposed to chanting for Obi in crunch time when you're about to beat the number one seed.
Do you remember, it was maybe a month or two ago, there was a clip that went around Twitter where basically Obi had fallen over on a play. Randall just walked by him and then offered to pick him up. And one of the other teammates did. But, like, he saw his teammate and just walked the other way.
Yeah, that was one of the first where it was like, there's been, like, defensive lapses and kind of just, like, jogging up and down. That was one of the first times where we noticed he's acting differently toward his teammates. And it's not like if you're a leader of a team, that's not the type of stuff you do.
I think the Obi stuff in particular, because Obi was drafted to take his position. I think he really took offense to that. But then he was having such a good season last year, it didn't really matter. But then when fans start cheering for Obi, he's like, F this guy. And like it was almost like the Tony Kukoc stuff from like the All-Star, from the Dream Team stuff from the Last Dance documentary where the team like took out their anger on Tony Kukoc, even though he didn't really do anything.
Right.
I feel like in this scenario, the fans kind of love Obi's energy, but he was drafted to take Randall's role. Fans have been cheering for him. It's not just last 2 minutes. Fans have been cheering for him earlier in the games, like during this, like, especially on Twitter. People have been trying to hand Randall's job to Obi since like game 20 of the season. Yeah, I think he has. I think he has special anger towards Obi.
He might, but the thing is, he was getting MVP chants all of last season, so it's not like the crowd was already like, "Oh, Obi's the guy." The cheers for Obi got louder when he started playing like garbage.
No, but it was like a couple like by mid-December, we were hearing people saying Obi should be starting.
Yeah, but that's like 6 straight weeks of Randall like playing.
Randall's been. I'm not saying I'm not defending Randall. I'm just saying Randall's play is the reason people are cheering for Obi, and that was the whole. If you remember the thing, it wasn't that long ago where Tibbs said everyone wants the backup QB until he plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you remember that line?
Yeah,
and I feel like people are not so. Fans are also super critical of Tibbs. I don't think fans appreciate enough the personalities that Tibbs has to manage.
That is true, and also the fact that the roster was almost the same between the year before Tibbs and the year with Tibbs, and they went from one of the worst teams in the league to a 4th seed. So it was a good job. It was a good coaching job.
Well, he's also the team had a terrible stretch earlier this season. They just won four games in a row. They're playing really hard. He hasn't lost the locker room. The players are still playing really hard for him. That's one thing in his favor. Also, balancing your all-NBA player is having a meltdown all season. That's a lot to figure out.
And
in
the
locker
entire
room.
time you have no point guard.
Right, you have no point guard at all. Your front office is doing you no favors. They're handing you players like, hey, try playing with Kemba Walker. See how that works out. The front office is doing you no favors. I think the Randall thing is really a lot of fans are like, well, we'll just get rid of Randall. It's not that easy to get rid of Randall. And I think Tibbs, everyone's hold Randall accountable. I think Tibbs is probably I need to figure out how to make Randall play well because he's here for the next 4 years.
Well, also, if he's on the verge of a meltdown, you don't want to completely set him off because it's hard. It's a difficult situation. I will say positives. Quickly has looked a lot better playing point guard. I still don't think he should be. I think he is a 2, but considering the situation that he's been basically put in that position, I think he's handled it well.
Yeah, I think Quickly, he's looked a lot better at point guard as of late. His shooting has been a lot better in the last month. Next season, I don't think he should be our starting point guard unless we really completely strike out and figure out another point guard. But I'd be very happy to have him leading the bench unit, and even better having him matched with Derrick Rose on the bench unit.
Yeah, I've kind of come around on Quickly. I do agree. I think he could still get 30 minutes a game. I just think it should be maybe 20 of those at the 2 instead of the 1. And I don't know. Maybe,
it doesn't have to be it also doesn't have to be a straight you're playing the 1, you're playing the 2. If he's out there with Rose in many aspects is kind of a 1-2 these days because he's kind of a score first guy.
Yeah.
Just pairing up with another guard where they can kind of share duties is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's been playing a lot. His defense actually has been a lot better also.
I think they have to move either Burks or Fournier. Burks, he hit the game winner, and he's a good player. He was playing out of position all season. The problem is now you have the emergence of Grimes. McBride can play some minutes. And if we're saying IQ has to play a lot of his minutes at the 2, you can't have Burks, Fournier, Grimes, and IQ there. Somebody's got to go.
Well, why does somebody? First of all, I hate people who are there's no room on the roster. There's no room on the roster. It's 15 guys in your roster. You always have 15 guys in your roster. You're not supposed to have 7 guys who just can't play basketball in your roster.
But it's not balanced. It's not balanced. That's what I'm saying.
What do you mean by balance, though? There's forwards and there's guards. That's most of the positions in basketball.
I guess if you're just going to forget point guard and just call them all guards.
Well, that's what the Knicks have done.
I think you need to swap out a shooting guard for a point guard. That's what
I'm just saying, you could have Grimes, you can have Fournier, you can have all of them on the roster. Play a guy who's played the hot hand given night. Have Grimes, next year, you could hand the job to Grimes right away. You could also say Grimes needs to beat out Fournier on a nightly basis. It's more of a competition.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes Fournier is just hot, and you want to play him because he's hot.
Yeah,
he did set the record for the most 3-pointers in Knicks history. We shouldn't be I'm happy to trade him if you can get a point. You can put him in a trade for a point guard, but we shouldn't act like Fournier is garbage either.
I'm not. He's good. Single season record for most threes by Nick.
It's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
He's actually done exactly what you've asked. Basically, you wanted the Knicks signed him to get a guy who is a short, a really good 3-point. He's shooting 7.5 threes a game at 40% clip. He's doing what you want from 3. And he's also said he was quoted as saying this is not how I was used in my Orlando days. I'm not just a guy that just shoots 3. It took me a while to get used to what my role is here.
Yeah. It's been he figured it out. You know, he's been a good player most of his career, so I'm not like shocked. It was just I feel like everybody was kind of out of sorts in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a very, very weird season. By the way, quickly, just to point out, so I have his splits, his shooting percentage by month, and so this is just crazy. I'll just start from October and read down: 28%, 43%, 35, 36, 32%, 45%. He basically has only been good in the months of November and March.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the time, his shooting percentage was complete and utter garbage.
Wait, who is this?
Quickly.
Oh, okay.
Did you? I mean, no, I'm not saying he's been playing well lately.
Yeah.
Well, you know his shooting percentage on the season is not good.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, he's been. The Knicks have too many guys that are inefficient, and you cannot have so many guys who are inefficient and win games. And having Quickly's got to be more. Right now, his numbers for the month of March are 45% and 42% from three. He's got to shoot 45% from the field, and he's got to shoot at least 38% from three to really be the player we want him to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely fair. Yeah. I mean, he's shown flashes, and I think he can do it, but before we hand him the reins, we definitely need to see that for an extended period of time.
I think his passing has been better lately. And generally in this season, he's better. He's getting better at setting players. He's currently the best point guard on the roster. Besides Derrick Rose, best healthy point guard on the roster. That'd be fair to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's the best healthy point guard on the roster. His defense has been looking really good lately.
Mm-hmm.
Its issue is shooting. So what I find annoying is I feel like he's good from three overall, even though he's very streaky. What do you think of his game inside the arc?
I mean, that's streaky too. Like sometimes he hits those floaters, and then sometimes it looks like he's kind of forcing things.
The floaters aren't a good shot.
I feel like last season he hit them constantly.
But he didn't even hit them at a good clip last year. They were still a lower percentage shot. I mean, it's a hard shot. It's really hard to be running at the basket and hit a floater and be doing it consistently.
It's not, arguably one of the hardest shots in the game, yeah.
Yeah, he needs. Why doesn't he have a pull-up jump shot? He's amazing. He's an amazing free throw shooter. Shouldn't he have a pull-up jump shot?
Yeah, he should.
He almost never pulls up. You never really see him pull up a jump shot inside the arc.
I've noticed some weird dynamics too. I feel like sometimes players are not passing to certain players. I saw a couple last game where Obi's wide open and nobody was passing to him, and then RJ was open for a few plays and nobody was passing to him. It seems like whoever has the ball has their favorites. Did you notice that?
No, I feel like it's almost like I do notice some of the guys that have their hands up. I sometimes also think the guys who have the ball are only limited passers most of the time. They don't always see them, or they're always trying to it's not. If we had a point guard, he'd find all these players. But sometimes IQ is trying to figure out what he wants to do, so he misses. Oh, and IQ obviously usually passes to OB. But I think sometimes guys just miss each other because no one's no one has great court vision.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem when you have no point guard, isn't it?
Right. I mean, sometimes they do great passes and all that, but if you're talking guys, do you think guys are playing favorites or just not seeing each other as much as they should?
I don't know. It might be a combination. They do seem to have a good rapport. RJ and Obi seem to be really chummy in bombing each other's interviews and stuff. So I think
they said they spent a lot of the offseason working out together.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember even from the summer league, they seemed like they were kind of they were meshing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's. You think so? Guys are purposely outside of Randall, who I don't. But Randall passes a lot. You can't say Randall does not try to set his teammates up.
Yeah, I mean the thing is he passes a lot, but I feel like a lot of times it's after holding it way too long, and it's almost like a bailout.
I feel like I wouldn't go. I feel like Randall is just a lot of times he just seems unsure in the court. Last night he seemed like he didn't know when he wanted to, like, he just wasn't very confident in his shots. So he would set his teammates up, but like he was kept, like he was holding the ball too long also, like thinking he's going to shoot and then just pass the ball off.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I said.
I
mean,
whatever.
He holds the ball too long and then he passes.
Of course he holds the ball too long. I'm just saying, you're saying that he only passes when he can't figure anything else out.
I'm not
and
saying
I was
only.
saying,
I'm just saying it happens a lot. He does pass. He passes way more than other power forwards that were the Knicks All-Stars.
Someone's taking a shot at Melo.
But I will say Melo never had a 5-point game.
Yeah. So just to finish him on IQ real quick, I think he needs to develop a jump shot from like a pull-up jump shot that would be really helpful because he's not that great at driving to the basket. He doesn't seem to be that good unless for the most part, he can't take it to the basket unless someone fouls him.
Right.
So he needs a pull-up jump shot, or else I don't know what he's doing inside the arc, because the floaters aren't a great shot.
I mean,
I don't know. He also
overdribbled a lot on like their 12th biggest problem.
Yeah, he also dribbles a lot. I mean, he's been playing very well, like good. I'm just like, these are issues going forward that he needs to work on the offseason. He cannot be like. There's sometimes you're like, IQ, what the hell are you doing? Why do you keep dribbling? Like, move the ball.
Right.
So you don't think the issues of him like not having a game inside the arc is an issue?
I mean, it's an issue. I feel like you're just.
Am I nitpicking here?
I just feel like you're focusing on that when there's a lot bigger problems. Like, I don't know, like the guy was supposed to be the cornerstone of the franchise requesting out, or like the centers who can't stay healthy, or there's no point guard, or like one of those other.
Okay, let's go back to Randall. Yeah, I thought we were gonna spend more time on Randall. You jumped around a little bit. I thought we'd spend a little more time on Randall. So how do we move Randall?
I mean, you do have a Dallas option if Brunson wants out. You do have the.
Is that an option though? So I guess the question is, how are other teams valuing Julius Randle? Do you think Dallas? So let's say Brunson says, he's a free agent, but the Knicks need a sign and trade to get him because they don't have the cap space otherwise, and that just basically is for all free agents. They need sign and trades. So let's say Brunson goes, I want to sign with the Knicks. Let's work out a sign and trade. Do you think Dallas wants Randle?
I mean, I don't think they're like dying for him, but he does fill a need for them.
The need, so a need to take the ball away from Luka.
No, I think Randall would look really good with Luka.
I do. I do think who would look better, KP with Luka or Randall with Luka?
Randall with Luka.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think Randall's more aggressive. I think Randall is a better downhill player. KP is more just like a spot-up shooter is not that good of a shooter.
Right. I mean, Randall's a pretty good, like, he can be a good spot-up shooter. He can be super aggressive around the basket. If you had someone else, say, like, a world-class point guard like Luka running the show and setting Randall up, that could be a really interesting combination.
Agreed.
Plus, you have the whole, like, home cut. He's from Dallas, so that's like that an added benefit. Maybe it'll get him extra excited. I feel like this is the one. This would be the best scenario for both teams.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so you have that option where it's like almost a 1-for-1.
Well, it can't be a 1-for-1 because Brunson's contract. Well, I guess you could sign. I don't know how it works exactly, but I guess they have to sign Brunson and then trade him. So if you sign, that would how the contracts would match, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then you have the nuclear option where you do something like Westbrook, and then just buy him out, where you're just basically like getting off of Randall's contract, which I don't think they should do.
Here's how it would go: the Knicks have traded Randall for Westbrook, and now all the fans would be like, "Yeah, they're just gonna buy him out. This is gonna be great. We're gonna see." They're playing him 35 minutes a night. The rest of the season, what the fuck?
And then the other option is to just get a bunch of parts to add up to Randall's contract.
Okay. What team is going to do that? I don't see that happen. I think in my mind, the options really are Westbrook, a similarly bad contract, John Wall or something else. Something really just like a nightmare contract, or maybe the Dallas scenario, or attaching assets. I don't see another team really going to make a move for him. Like, I feel like most of the, like, pick a team and tell me they're going to trade for him. Without the Knicks attaching assets. Pick a team for me.
Dallas.
Besides Dallas that we just talked about.
No, Bertans.
I'm saying pick a team besides Dallas.
Okay.
My point really is that Dallas and the Lakers with like LeBron or other telecom. Like, what team is going to trade like okay players for him?
What if Ben Simmons is scared to play in Brooklyn?
What team wants to absorb his $20 million a year, $25 million a year contract for a guy that's mopey and the Knicks don't want to play?
Houston.
Why does Houston want him? They're rebuilding. How does he help Houston? Plus, they have Christian Wood. I don't think a lot of teams really are like. If we are at the point where we're like, we need to get Randall out of here, like, and he's also having a really down year. I don't know if a lot of teams are going to really value this player.
What if they want to get off of Wood and or John Wall?
Why would they want to get off of Wood? I said John Wall, fine, yeah. If we want to take back a $45 million a year contract from John Wall, great.
Sengun, man.
What's up?
Sengun. He's on Sengun. He's on Houston. They play him instead of Christian Wood.
Okay. I'm just saying there's like I don't think the trades, I think it's going to be really tough to move Randall without attaching an asset. I don't think there are that many trade scenarios for him.
We have a caller.
Okay, great.
Anthony, how you doing?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
All right.
Good. How you doing?
Not bad. I haven't had time at all to do anything, and I'm barely taking some minutes to call in. What's going on with Randall?
Supposedly Randall after the game, we just talked about before, but supposedly after the game, he obviously looked a little down after the Knicks won a game. When he so some Knicks, someone in the organization went up to him and asked him what's up, and he said, "I want out." Basically, is the rumor that's been reported.
Also, it's a rumor.
Yeah, it has not been confirmed yet, but it was reported on like a major. It was reported on WFAN, like a major show in the world of Knicks.
Yeah, because I saw Nick's Twitter and it was blowing up. I thought he was saying that he just said something on like post game or something like that. I don't know.
No, he hasn't made it official, but it seems like it's a pretty legit rumor.
Yeah, I mean, like, who knows? You may not. It was reported on WFAN. They wouldn't have reported it if they didn't think there was a decent chance it was true. And they said it's a rumor, but also everything he's done from the thumbs down to like just how he looks so down and despondent lately. There's a decent chance he's done with New York. And there's the whole fight thing with his wife fighting with the guy from that other Knicks show. Like, it just seems like I think Randall is very frustrated with New York right now, and he doesn't even look happy when they win games.
So, you guys ready for the next big trade?
Yes. What's the next big trade? You gonna propose one?
We're getting Westbrook, baby.
God. So, another
when
rumor came out that said Randall sometimes dresses by himself in another area of the locker room.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Well, he doesn't do on the road. He doesn't come out for when they introduce the team. He doesn't come out for that anymore. He doesn't appear for the media most of the time anymore. Like, he's obviously a little. So anyway, Anthony, are you excited to have Westbrook as our starting point guard next year?
100% no. But
can you talk yourself into it? Because you're gonna have to.
Well, at least I can say that he's better than whatever version that we have of IQ, right?
IQ's been looking a little better lately, in fairness.
Oh yeah, 3 games.
We have to be an optimist. If you played good for 1 game, we have to call that like this is like we can build upon this. It's doesn't matter how short of a
seriously,
sample.
this last week I barely watched any games at all because I was so busy at work, and Twitter was blowing. Like I thought that IQ was dropping like 10, 12, 15 assists or something like that, and when I saw the stats, it was like 2 assists, 3 assists, a 20-point game, and I'm like, okay.
It's not like so. Yeah, the way the Knicks Twitter reacts, it's like when the Knicks beat the Miami Heat the other night. You would have thought because they also had all the young guys on the floor when they won, and they had a huge comeback in the fourth quarter. IQ at 20 points in the fourth quarter. You would have thought the Knicks just won the title the way Twitter reacts to that, which is also why we have an awesome fan base, but also an insane fan base.
I saw a few minutes of it, like the highlights and stuff. It was fun, but I just don't see anything different. The shots were just falling down. That was it. Because I didn't see any like I don't know any improvement. It was just the shots that were falling in. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's if you hit your shots, then things look a lot better.
Exactly.
But he has been looking overall. I mean, his defense has been better. I was saying to Jay also before you called in that he needs to figure out what he's going to do with the ball when he goes inside the arc. From 2, he needs a pull up jumper. He needs to be able to attack the basket better. He needs to not over dribble. There's a lot to be asked. There's a lot to.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to like finish at the rim and like no mid-range jumper. I mean, God bless him. I mean, hopefully he develops into something better than that. But well, I guess we'll find out next season when we have Westbrook on the team and IQ is developing under him, right?
Yeah, I mean, Westbrook is a former league MVP, so it's amazing how Westbrook went from like, wow, this guy's going to average a triple-double for the season, MVP, we love Westbrook, to everyone can't stand playing with him. I don't know how that happened so fast.
He's a good player on bad teams. That's the thing, that on a bad team, he's going to put the stats on, and people are going to say, whoa, like this guy is amazing, triple-doubles and stuff like that. But every time he has a chance to actually do some damage and make some real impact on a winning team, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, he can get a bad team to the playoffs. He just can't really help you, which is not like it's pretty positive in the sense, but he can't get you to the title. He can't get you to the promised land.
Right.
But I mean, so the Knicks have won 4 in a row. They beat the Hornets, they beat the Heat, they beat the Pistons, they beat the Bulls. Should we be excited? And also, are the Knicks when the season no longer matters? Are the Knicks the best? Are the best when the season doesn't matter team? Is there any team that wins more when the season doesn't matter?
100%. I'm so upset that like it was looking good. Like I was thinking, like, well, maybe we get a top 10 draft pick and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, I'm so busy at work, and the Knicks started winning games, and I'm like, wow, are you serious?
So, in fairness, the Knicks probably are not going to get not probably. There's almost no chance of getting the play-in game. Would you be upset? The Knicks are now 34 and 42. Wouldn't you feel a little better about next season? The Knicks pull off like 6 more wins. The Knicks get to 40 and 42, end the season on a 10-game winning streak. That feels pretty good for next season.
I mean, I guess so, but then next season you're probably going to lose Randall, and then you don't have a top 10 pick, so you're back to square one, like rebuilding again with the few pieces that you had on the team that were actually working at some point, no longer working. So,
are they better or worse without Randall?
They are worse without Randall. That's absolutely 100% right. The thing is that, well,
I'm not convinced that's true. I think at some point it was. I think with the emergence of RJ, I think they are better. They could be better without Randall. I think not that Obi's amazing. Obi's been playing a lot better. I think the problem really is it's really, really tough to play RJ and Randall together because they are both high volume, inefficient scorers right now. You can't have
Right.
you can't have two guys being inefficient and scoring a lot. I think the emergence of RJ makes Randall a lot more expendable. And also, when Obi does score, he's much more efficient. Except when he's like bricking threes. It seems to me that you're almost better off moving on from Randall and just building around RJ at this point. And that actually might equal more wins.
But that's actually the craziest thing is that last year we were hoping that this year RJ took a step so that way he could help Randall. And now all of a sudden, like, RJ is looking better and Randall is not playing well. And we're saying the opposite team, like, oh, Randall can't work with RJ when last season Randall was playing insane and RJ was the one who struggled most of the season. I think that
RJ was good for a long stretch. I mean, like RJ shot 40%
well together, right? Like
they did play well together. Absolutely. You know what I think part of it I think also is it's really that if Randall gave the effort he had last season, I'd be more convinced they could play together. Like Randall does not. There's too many defensive lapses. He doesn't seem to be giving 100% on the court. Whereas everyone else, whatever you want to say about Obi seems to be hustling at all times. Randall does not seem to be doing that, and it's really hard to play when.
And that's the main reason why I think that. I mean, it's not about what Randall can do; it's what he isn't doing right. So he's probably like the rumor said. He just checked out of New York. He's just waiting to be traded. So that's the reason we're not getting the best version of Randall because it's been going on for a few months now. Like all the behavior and his wife and stuff, like it's going on for months now. So I think he checked out probably at the beginning of the year and he's just waiting for the inevitable, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think are the Knicks better without last season's version of Randall? No, absolutely not. But are the Knicks better without this version of Randall? Yeah, I think they're better
100%.
without the guy who's really hustling or playing hard and the guy who's putting up 5 points some nights. Like this version of Randall, the Knicks are probably going to win more games without him.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I'm going to leave you guys. I have a busy rest of the night, so I'm going to keep listening to the show. Thanks for everything, man.
All right. Thanks for joining.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your night, man.
So I have a question. We were saying that Mitch looks like he's probably going to leave this offseason. It looks like he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Do you think that was because of Randall, and now the Knicks have a better chance of actually keeping Mitch if Randall goes?
I don't know. I don't really know this. Do you think that's why you think somehow Randall's the issue for Mitch leaving?
I think Mitch keeps saying that like nothing's run for him, and he has to earn like every bucket he gets, and I think a lot of that is because Randall's in the paint, and if he does anything, he kicks it back out to the 3-point line. So.
Right. Guys like RJ, if the offense is going through RJ does more to set up Mitch, and other guys also do more to set up Mitch than Randall does.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I also think like he's going to, no matter, even if he has a preference for staying, I think his number one preference will be getting paid. Like I think if the Knicks offer him 12 and Detroit or Dallas for some reason offers him 15, he's leaving.
Yeah.
You think he's, I mean, like, you think he's going to take a hometown discount?
Probably not.
Most guys don't really do that.
No, I don't think it's. I felt earlier that he just wanted out. Now I feel like, like if the Knicks matched, he would have been out. But now I don't feel that way.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's a fair thing. He might like this version of the team without Randall better, and also, but he may not also know. But when he has to sign his contract, he may not know whether Randall's going to be here or not.
Right. So David writes, what do you think Mitch Robinson's absolute ceiling? Clint Capella?
Yeah.
And how many more wins do you think this team would have this year if they had Clint Capella instead of Mitchell Robinson? Maybe 2 or 3?
Clint Capella is better than Mitch Robinson right now. I mean, a healthy Clint Capella versus a not so healthy Mitch half the year would make a big difference. A couple more wins. I don't know. I don't know that many. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's close. Yeah, I would say mainly just for being on the court, maybe a couple more, but it's close. And he says, unless he's cheap, I don't think we sign him. Rim running, shot blocking centers are only good with an elite point guard. We need the point guard first.
Hey, you know what I'm not sure about? So Sims is on a 2-way contract. So that means he's not locked in for next year, right?
Right.
I mean, do we have him for next season? I don't think he's just on a 2-way. The Knicks better not screw up and not have Sims next year.
I know.
Like, in theory, he should be on like give him like a 4-year, like just kind of some kind of cheap like there seems to be some value. Like you should be able to get him on a cheap contract.
Yeah,
and lock him in here for a few years.
Lock him up now for like 4 years, $8 million or something.
Yeah, something like not too crazy, or 4 years, 10, whatever. Like, there's a lot of value in keeping Sims.
Or hey, right, say guys, do you find it a little suspicious that once the Knicks said they weren't firing Tibbs and keeping him next year, Kenny Payne leaves for another job? Can't wait to see the vets getting 40 minutes next year. I actually heard Kenny Payne was almost a done deal like weeks before it happened. So I don't think
this rumor was going on around for a while. So yeah, I don't think there's any connection. Do you think the amount of minutes that Randall plays on a nightly basis in some way is that like frustrating Randall?
I don't know what the hell Randall's problem is.
What do you think when people say hold Randall accountable? What do you think they mean? Like in the sense of how many? Like I understand they might mean like when Randall screws something up, take him off the court. But how many minutes do fans envision him getting in a hold accountable version?
I think the problem is like Sims missed a defensive rotation, I think 2 games ago, and Tibbs almost ran on the court screaming in his face. And Randall does that like 5 times a game. So I think that's what people are talking about.
But what do you envision? Do you envision the guy you just signed for $120 million or $110 million? Do you envision him just not playing because he missed a defensive rotation? What do you envision happening?
You know, I'm guessing just like treat him the same. If he's missing it and you're going to yell at Sims, yell at Randall. Let him know what he's doing.
He's got to play 30 plus minutes a game. Right now he's playing like 36 or 37 minutes. At a minimum, though, he's going to play 30 minutes a game.
If he keeps screwing up and not trying hard on defense, cut him down to 25.
You think that's going to happen for the guy you just the front office just signed this guy for a gigantic deal? You as the coach want to keep your job. Are you not going to play this guy, your biggest player, your biggest contract? You're not going to play him?
We've seen coaches make statements like that before.
Really, who?
For a half a game or...
I mean, it doesn't happen that often. Like I know everyone gives crap about Randall, and he should be held a little more accountable. But most quote unquote star players on the team don't get held that accountable. Well, and also, there's a dynamic of like, if I basically bench him for half the game, maybe I lose my relationship with this guy who's like teetering on the brink of like there's some issues. I mean, we don't know what's going on beyond this, but like I'm just saying. How often do you see guys held accountable?
Well,
They're star players on
It's
a
also
team.
hard to say because most star players don't walk up and down the court and throw hissy fits and not try. So
it's a unique situation.
Yeah.
I have something I wanted to read to you. I just want to get your reaction to this. I saw this. Someone commented. I saw this comment on Reddit, and I just thought it was an interesting comment to really just get your view on this comment. And I'm my email. Just let me find this. Okay.
Do you have it?
So here's the prediction. Okay. People are talking about the draft. And by the way, so Jake, do you want to apologize for telling fans all year the Knicks draft tie?
No, because I have no idea who the correct choice is now. Like the Knicks have now moved down to the 12th or 13th pick, and so has Ty. So that might be inappropriate pick for where they're picking.
I know, but do you think Ty Ty is the answer at point guard?
No, I definitely oversold Ty Ty. I would like
definitely
to do
oversold Ty
an
Ty.
apology episode though. We haven't done an apology episode in a while. So
You want to do an apology? Okay, go for it.
yeah, I would like to make an apology to Carmelo, I guess, because I said Randall was better than Carmelo. I
I think you should apologize to the Knicks fan base.
Yeah, I can't believe that I'm doing a Melo apology when he's like one of my least favorite Knicks ever. But I was wrong.
Why are the Knicks' best player always the fans' least favorite player?
Because their best player is usually underperforming and has a gigantic flaw.
Anyway, Ty Ty did not look good when Kentucky lost in the first round. He did not have a very good game. He was clearly like, I haven't watched too much Ty Ty all year. I didn't realize that he wasn't the point guard at all in their offense.
That was that was shocking to me. He wasn't even playing point guard. I'm like, okay, if he can't be the point guard on a college team, he's not going to be a point guard in the NBA.
I don't watch too much college basketball. NCAA tournament I was watching. I was like excited to watch the Kentucky game because I'm like, oh, I'll watch this guy Ty Ty. I didn't realize Wheeler's the point guard. Apparently, Ty Ty also had some injury earlier in the year and hasn't played as well since the injury. But either way, Wheeler's the point guard. Ty Ty's not the point guard. They say generally he has some point guard skills, but he does kind of look like a not as good version of IQ in some respect.
Right.
He could still be the pick. Who the hell knows? But anyway, to read you this real quickly to get your view on it. So the prediction was, to read this, I predicted we trade our first and second round picks this year for a late 25 or 30 or so and a protected first next year. How would you feel about that first? The Knicks trade their 12th pick in the draft and their second round to get a pick in the 25 to 30 range and a protected first next year.
How protected?
I don't give a shit. Just Jay, just pick say it's top 15 protect. I don't care. Just Jay, how do you care? How do you feel about them trading out of the first? Say it's the exact same pick next year. You get the 12th pick in next year's draft and 25 to 30 this year.
No, just take it now.
Yeah. Why would you not take the pick right now? It would be this bullshit cute crap where like Leon Rose is like, I'm smarter than everyone. Here's how I'm going to do some other stupid shit with the draft and have it work out worse.
Yeah.
The arguments are there's no room in the rotation, so whoever we get will just be in the G League pretty much the entire season. So we might as well take a high ceiling project. What do you think about that?
Are the guys on the Knicks, as much as we like them, are they so good that they're untouchable and nobody could break into this rotation?
Fans act like we are playing. We have 15 All-Stars. There's no way anyone. We have the fucking dream team. We need better players.
If they're so good, if the Knicks are so good that they don't need to draft somebody, why aren't they winning the championship this year?
You know what? Like, oh, how are we going to work this guy in with, like, you have Evan Fournier? Well, if the guy's better than Fournier, he plays over him. If he's better than Burks, he plays over him. If he's better than so-and-so, he plays over them. Also, the whole idea of, like, well, he's a rookie and Tibbs doesn't play rookies. He's playing all the rookies. What the hell are people talking about?
I know. I mean, I guess there's a couple injuries, but, like, he played IQ at his rookie year. He's playing a ton of rookies.
RJ played the entire time he's been here. IQ played last year. Obi played some last year. This year, Grimes was playing before all the injuries. Like, people are insane. Also, he said Leon loves picking up picks and knows their value and potential trade for a star, especially first-round picks. I don't know what Leon knows what he's doing. That part just drives me crazy.
No, Leon loves picking up picks. Do you know that in the next 10 years, the Knicks have 11 first-rounders?
It's crazy how many we have in the
treasure
next
trove of picks.
Do you know we also have 30 second-round picks in the next 5 years that we're never going to use?
Great. So excited.
At pick, like the Knicks are like, okay, there's a star in the market. How about we give you 47 second-round picks? No? God damn it. 3, this person says, at pick 12, we're likely to just miss out on the second tier of Murray, Griffin, Sharp, Davis, blah, blah, blah. If one of those guys ends up dropping out of the top 10, it might be a reason, and it might be for a reason. So the guy basically says, name some players that we're not going to get, and if one of them falls to us, maybe they're not good.
That's great logic.
I hate the lie. The thing is like Donovan Mitchell, like what went later in the draft. Lots of guys go later in the draft because it's really hard to pick who's going to be good.
Every year there's a guy.
Here's my favorite logic.
I'm not saying the Knicks are going to get them, but every year there's a guy that drops that is good.
And also, no matter how well you think the Knicks have drafted in the last 2 years, at every pick there were better guys to take. Not that the Knicks have to nail every pick, but it's not like we nailed the best player at every pick.
Right.
Number 4, we've almost done better picking late first, early second than in the real lotto, quick Grimes deuce plus cheaper price. So how do you like the logic that the Knicks aren't good at drafting high, so we shouldn't try it anymore?
We'll just build a team of like picks between 22 and 46 because that's how championships are built.
Yeah, all the guys we're getting also those picks are like most of them are not starters. We need some starters.
I just want to check something with you. The Knicks are 34 and 42, right? They're the 11th seed.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay,
I can see how
okay.
no one could fit on this team, and
No,
you can't like.
Based on what you're reading, I thought they were like the number 2 seed and had 60 wins.
Also, I know it looks like we constantly need a point guard, but not from this draft. Fair. We are likely to trade for a vet point guard, and nobody available will be better than Deuce currently is.
Nobody.
There's no one in the draft that's going to be better than Deuce.
Nobody.
Let alone where he'll be after. It's also like people are like, oh, well, where will Deuce play? This guy won't. If we draft someone at 12 who's better than Deuce, he'll just play over Deuce. How's that? I can't even. Also, this is my favorite point. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but it goes, and drafting a point guard will basically block Rokas from coming over here, so we lose a pick. The dude in Europe that we have no idea if he'll be good in the NBA, we're concerned about making sure he has a spot in the team. We don't want to block him with drafting a player because he's going to come over here in a year or two and be the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I mean, he is averaging, like 8.5 points a game over in Europe?
I mean, people are saying he's pretty decent over there. Like, he's doing okay in the EuroLeague. He might be here in a year or two. He might not be. It's just a completely – we don't know if he's a good pick yet. We don't know if Rokas is going to be good or not.
I mean, odds are he's not a game changer. Think about people who are absolutely dominating the EuroLeague. Ricky Rubio, decent player.
Pretty good, yeah.
But not like, oh my God, let's not draft anybody for that position because he's so good.
If you sent Frank back there right now, he'd probably be starting. In the NBA, he can't find minutes. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a bunch of questions just to go through speed round. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
Real fast. Name your, Andrew writes on Facebook, name your predicted starting lineup for the first game next season. Okay, point guard, Jay.
Burks.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Just being realistic.
That's offensive. That is absolutely okay. I am predicting our starting point guard is Colin Sexton.
Okay.
Actually, Jalen Brunson. I think they somehow get the Dallas trade done, and I feel a little better about everything, the world. Okay. Jalen Brunson. Who's your two?
Fournier.
Well, I'm gonna put. Is Barrett considered a 3, not a 2?
Yeah, he's
okay.
3.
I'm gonna put Grimes there at 2.
Okay.
Who's your 3?
Yeah, Barrett.
It might be Fournier. You're right. Whatever. Who's your 3?
Barrett.
Barrett. Who's your 4? Who's starting power forward?
Could it be Obi?
Could be Obi. I do think if the Knicks actually plan on moving Randall, then it might make sense to draft another point guard, another power forward. Yeah. Because it would be good to have someone else to play with, because I don't know if Obi's a 35 minute night guy.
You already got Obi. There's no point.
Who's our center?
I think if Randall's gone, they keep Mitch.
Okay. I think that's reasonable. I still think Mitch leaves, and I think fans are going to like this, but I think Nerlens Noel is our starting center.
For the 7 games he's healthy.
For the 7 games he's healthy, he might look good before he gets injured for the rest of the season. Do we have any emails?
Jorge writes, hope everything's well with both of you. Thank you. My question is, who's a bigger baby, Randall or DeMarcus Cousins?
I don't watch enough of Cousins, but Randall's just really annoying me with all his complaining.
Just because of the season that Cousins basically accepted a backup role on Golden State and behaved and was a good part of that, I'm going to put Randall ahead because Cousins actually showed that he could be mature for a season.
Do you remember the really early in the season where Randall had that one game where he complained to the refs about being fouled, and the refs were like, "Well, you're kind of a big guy, so it's okay to foul you."
Right.
Do you think that's part of has led to part of Randall's overall breakdown?
No. I feel like all big guys have to deal with that. There's more going on there. Andrew said, Rokas said he doesn't want to come for at least 2 years. He doesn't want to come and sit on the bench in the NBA.
Yeah, so a lot of people looked at that and said, I heard that, and they said well, that's because Tibbs doesn't play young guys, and it's all Tibbs' fault he's not coming here. I interpret that being that Rokas wants to feel like he's a starter before he gets here. Like he wants to improve his game.
Right.
He wants to at least start in the EuroLeague before trying to come to the NBA.
Yeah.
Which seems like a reasonable thing to approach.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever, writes on Twitter. Should the Knicks front office fire Tibbs the day before the next season starts or wait until just after RJ is named an all-star?
I still want to see what he looks like with a point guard on the roster.
By the way, why is Tibbs killed for all the negative stuff? But when the young guys play well, when RJ takes the leap, why is he never getting credit for all the good stuff?
I don't know. It's a good question.
RJ, we're all loving RJ's development lately, but we're giving Tibbs zero credit for it.
Right.
We all like what we're seeing from Obi lately. Zero credit to Tibbs. We all like what the young guys are doing, but zero credit to Tibbs.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I also love that people are like, if the young guys played all season, you were going to start McBride on the first game of the season? Also, Knicks third quarter writes, what was the exact moment that broke Randall?
Well, we kind of touched on that earlier. I think I think it was the Hawks series. I really do.
I just know I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, I guess it probably was. I don't know. I was gonna say though, it was gone though. When he did the thumbs down thing, it was over.
Mm-hmm.
Jojo Pellegrino writes, so with this win streak and a few more wins on the horizon, we are definitely out of the top 10 picks in the lottery. Who should we focus on in the lottery, 10 to 20? Should we try to trade up or should we trade out since it seems like we have enough good, decent young players? So I'll ask you a couple things. So you don't have to name a player we should go for. But, Jay, what position should the Knicks, outside of BPA, best player available, what position would you focus on in this draft, knowing that there's not much in the point guard scenario? What are you focusing on?
Either a point guard or power forward.
It's not because there's no point guard, Jay. It's tie. Unless you're drafting tie, there's no point guard in the top 20 prospects.
It's power forward. You trade Randall and you got Obi and whoever you draft.
Okay, I would also consider a wing. The Knicks could use another good wing, or a center to space the floor, and that will make it easier to move on from Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
Should the Knicks consider trading down, Jay?
No.
I think it's insane. Do we have enough good, decent young players in the roster?
Are they still 11th at 34 and 42?
No, according to most of Knicks fans, we won the title already.
Okay.
Anthony writes, are we going all the way this season? Which is pretty much basically how the Knicks fans are reacting to stuff. Any more questions on email?
No, that's it. So, thank you for listening, everybody. Never a dull moment in Knicks land. And
never a dull moment.
We will be back soon. So,
Jay, how much? By the way, how much of a nightmare would it be? They're like, no, it wasn't Randall. It was RJ asking out.
Then we'll be recording our last episode.
That would be the greatest nightmare in Knicks. By the way, we just 12 seconds ago in the episode, RJ has been pretty darn awesome lately. What do you want to see him improve?
Consistency. His field goal percentage has been pretty bad, so I want to see him work on a shot.
I'd like to see if he sees 4 guys at the basket, not to drive into all 4 guys.
Yeah, and until he gets his field goal percentage up a little bit.
In fairness, though, he's 21, and like I love his how aggressive he is going to the basket. It's kind of awesome. Okay, you can end the show now, Jay.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
All right.
At least that didn't drop right after the show. That would have been kind of annoying.
That would have been so aggravating.